I'm Epstein Justice Associate Director Peter Shin. I'm joined by Associate Director of Epstein Justice, Alisha Owen, for this month's Alisha's Audio. Alisha, over to you.
Thank you, Pete. And this is our second newsletter for the year 2024. Last month, we talked about what is Epstein justice and why Epstein justice. And I gave you a little bit of background about myself. So if you want to review that, you can check out our last month's newsletter. But I think it's really important this month. We have talked about what our goal is for Epstein justice. And our goal is to have Congress create a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And that sounds pretty big or a large task to undertake. And we've done some research, and I think it's important that you know exactly what it is that we're asking for. I'm sure that after you've watched the news or things like that, that you know what a Senate committee is. Well, a Senate committee, you've seen them on TV, it's a group of senators and representatives that hold hearings. Well, a commission is a little bit different. A commission is actually formed of not just elected officials, but also people, like regular people. And they will do an investigation. It's set up and they can be given subpoena powers. Not all commissions do, but of course, this commission, I think it's imperative that the commission has subpoena powers. And my hope and dream for a commission would be to have representatives of all types of things that we are looking into. I think that we need not only elected officials, I think that we need victims, we need law enforcement, we need medical personnel. Like, if you look at our board, one of the things that makes Epstein Justice special is our advisory board. We have world renowned psychologists that are experts in human trafficking and what it does to victims and what it does to society. And so, really, the goal is to have a commission, a group of people that are experts and have real experience in fact finding, because really that's what we're looking for. Is we need to know what the facts are, what actually happened. And in order to be able to do that, we're going to need subpoena powers. But really, the ultimate goal is to help fix our system because it's broken and we know it. And in doing so, we can also put an end to this type of trafficking, not only when it gets discovered, but it also then later gets covered up. And that really is, you can't even imagine as a victim, once you get rescued and then you find out that really you just fell from the frying pan into the fire. That needs to end. And like I've said before, with my experience, I've been through that. But if you don't think that it's happening right now, check out our person of interest. Because I am not kidding you. Our person of interest this month, it's really, really difficult as a victim when you keep seeing the same names pop up over and over and over again in the aftermath of these rings coming to light. We got a problem here. It's like calling the cleanup crew. We can't allow that to happen anymore. And why should we call this a Truth and Reconciliation Commission? Well, one, we want the truth. That's pretty easy to understand. But when we talk about reconciliation, a lot of times I don't think that people understand how this affects them directly. Because when you have in a society right now, only 2 out of every 10 people believe that our government will usually do the right thing. That means over 80% of all people, and this is like a general statement. This isn't just about trafficking and covering up things that maybe the government doesn't want to put out there that they've done wrong. 80% of all people don't believe that the government, in any circumstance, is going to usually do the right thing. That's a problem. And when we also don't believe our news media, I mean, do we really believe that Epstein killed himself? Well, we want to find out. And when you don't believe the news media, and when you have such a disparity and a level of distrust for our entire society, for the people that are telling us the news, what's going on, and our government and our law enforcement, that's a real problem. A society cannot function, at least very well, with that level of distrust and that level of subterfuge. We have the right to live in a place where we can trust the people that we elected, where we can trust our law enforcement, where we can trust what the news is telling us to be true. That affects every single one of us. And if you don't think that this issue that we're talking about, it kind of is like the whole parcel and package, because it really highlights all of those disconnects. And if we can start fixing those disconnects, the society that we will have will be so much better. And we have a right to that. We have a right for our children to be able to believe that there is justice in this world, and that they'll be protected, and they will be cared for, and they will be believed. So I really think that when we talk about reconciliation, that's the end goal, that we can have a society that knows what's going on and that can say, nope, we're not going to allow that. Not on our watch. We're not going to leave this broken, lying mechanism and rotten shell of a government for our children. So I think that if you understand, and I don't know anybody that could say, oh, no, we don't have a right to the truth. And I don't think that anybody could say, oh, yeah, no, everybody believes their government. Everybody believes the news media. I mean, these are things that just as people that we should be able to get behind and say, no, we need to fix this. We want this to be changed. We don't want to live like this, and we don't want this to continue. Because the other thing that you need to realize is when our government, in any form, when they cover up things, or like in my case, attack the victims and try the victims, they're using your name. When it says state or the United States government against this person, or when they're going in with maybe search warrants and confiscating evidence and just disappears, they're using your name to do that. And that's one thing that I can't tolerate. They don't get to use my name to do this. I absolutely won't stand for that. And I hope that you'll join me in saying, you know what, you don't get to use my name to cover this up. You don't get to do that. That's not what this is for, and that's not what we're going to allow. So we do have a responsibility, because they are using our name, and it's our responsibility to make sure that what they're using our name to do is something that is legally and morally right. Because if we don't, then we are adding to the problem. And I'm not going to be part of the problem, and I hope that you'll join me in not being part of the problem. So definitely take a look at this month's person of interest, because it is in the news right now. And I'm not saying that they're connected in a formal way, but man, when you start investigating these different rings and these different kind of sweep under the rug, let's give them a sweetheart deal, the same names keep coming up. And one of the things that we're doing is we're bringing those names to light, because you have the right to know that in your name, they're bringing these people in to just sweep it all under the rug. And we can't allow that. So if you'll take a look at this month's newsletter, I think that you'll find it very, very relevant as to what's happening in the news right now. And I would also suggest that there is one thing that I wanted to let you know, that, as you're listening to this, it's on a YouTube channel, and I really do want you to be part of the conversation. So feel free to go to the comments, because I read those. I promise. I read those. Look at the comments, and if you'd like to join the conversation, leave me a comment. And if you have something that you want to talk about that's a little bit longer, you can email us at info@epsteinjustice.com, and we read the emails. We get the emails, and we will respond. Also, I would really appreciate it if you share the newsletter. And if you'd like, you can share this. And if you look down at the bottom of this screen, there is a share button. Feel free to share this with your family and friends. People really need to know what we can do about it because there is. And really, it's not hard. It's sign the petition. Right now, we have over 40,000 people. I have a goal. I want to have that petition to have so many people that it cannot be ignored because that's really how we're going to be able to do this. If we have enough people that they cannot ignore us, we'll get this done. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll be back next month.
That's Alisha Owen, Associate Director for Epstein Justice. I'm Associate Director for Epstein Justice, Peter Shin. Thanks for listening.